Hello. Happy 11/11. And welcome to Catharsis Hotline. Welcome. Hello. Actually, I don't want this on my neck. I'm feeling too warm. Hi. Ooh. Wow. So, happy Friday. Oh, God. So much to cathart. Where do I even begin? Well, I don't know if you're feeling this, but I'm just feeling I woke up feeling this really, really heavy energy. And I couldn't get out of bed, and I just felt like I was stuck in this liminal funk. Yeah. And inside of the liminal funk, I was tuning into it, and it just felt like this big lump. A big heavy lump. And so yeah, somewhere like wedged in my middle place. And I was tuning into this feeling that I woke up with this morning, this heaviness, and I was asking this lump, like what is it that you are? And it was this feeling of being like, I am unwanted and I exist, yet I exist. So yeah, it's this aspect of myself that's kind of living in a painful paradox of, sorry, I'm just seeing this comment, new band name, Liminal Funk Lump. I love it. Oh my God. Can we create a screamo band? We just scream from the liminal funk lump. Yeah, and this lump was kind of this gray, dark, very opaque material, and it was just sitting in my insides, and it's so all the its edges were kind of bumping into soft parts inside of me, just kind of jabby, just kind of this big awkward shape. And so yeah, the feeling that it was exuding is, I'm not supposed to exist, yet I exist. I'm so unwanted, yet I exist. And it was just such a deep sadness to be living in this paradox. So I feel like I'm tapping into this in myself, and I know that this is some kind of collective energy that's going on, where life feels so painful and unbearable. Because how can you exist when you feel like you're not supposed to? And so there's a lot of this feeling of helplessness, hopelessness, this feeling of futility, that a sense this is just my life and I'm just doomed to exist in this state forever. And it's so heavy and it's so painful. So yeah, this feeling of I'm so undesirable as I am. Whew. So the stars mythic is saying, it woke me up at 5 a.m. Haven't been able to shift since. Whoa. Okay, so I feel like there is some, very intense collective energy going on with this shadow. And I just want to share with you what came through for me as I was working with this. And I think this pertains to so many of you out there too. Also, I'm just hearing about so many people who are ending their lives, and there's just a lot of there's some like exit portal happening where it's some pain threshold is reaching a certain critical state, and there's just people are seeking release from something that just feels so unbearable and terrible on earth. And I don't blame anyone for that insane amount of pain that's happening, because we're living in such a time of, like, on one hand, we have so many tools to work with this, but that's why it's so important that we know that these states are not fixed, but and there are tools to work with it, and we need support in being able to work with it, and presence and witnessing. But that's the thing with when in that deep powerless state, it just seems like that's all there is. And so I just hope that this message reaches whoever it needs to reach, that that feeling of feeling so fixed in that I'm so undesirable, I shouldn't exist, like, this is coming up for a reason, because it's asking to be integrated. It's asking to be witnessed and held and loved. So, but this is why we don't want to push these feelings away, and we want to consciously work with it. So yes, this big, like, opaque, heavy gray lump that I was tapping into this morning was, like, it was perceiving itself to be that there's just something innately so ugly and undesirable about it, and that the more, like, every time it experienced that belief activating with, like, oh, I'm undesirable, I'm unwanted, it kind of like, it like grew over time. It was like this cancer, like this lump was this like hardened cancer that just kept growing and growing every time it was existing in this unwitnessed state, believing in its own powerlessness, believing in its own unworthiness, undesirableness, and feeling like it just got bigger and bigger, and it just got even more until it became this like very obvious thing of like, it can't hide itself even more. It just like more, it's like bigger and more wedged and more obvious that it's like that it's hitting into these like soft places within me. And so I was in like giving this energy presence, asking it questions. It was so interesting how like just that curiosity towards this feeling and this like energetic glob, it started to feel itself. It started to see itself as something more than just what it had believed itself to be, which is like this non-existent, no worth thing. And when it was asked what it wanted and like why is it here, its response was it needed its pain to be acknowledged. And what it needed was and wanted is love. And so it was such a also very fascinating thing to kind of witness, like myself witnessing it, myself like feeling it, and feeling the shift happening inside of my body of like initially kind of just feeling like, oh, what is this feeling here? Oh, I don't like this feeling, to, oh my God, who are you? And oh, now I am seeing you as this being that has sentience, and you have a message for me, and I'm going to shift how I relate to you as not just something here to torture me or make my day miserable, but like you're helping me to see and understand what this pain is. And through like my shift in regarding this being as something of value and not just this like thing that shouldn't be here, but like you're here to like show me how I can be a more compassionate, loving, understanding being to like this feeling inside of me that is collective. So in that shift in my own perspective towards it, you know how like, you know, with like quantum physics, it's like the observer changes what the thing is. The like the thing itself is empty, it doesn't have meaning, but it's the meaning and like the observer's meaning that is imbued in the thing that creates the thing. So it's the relationship you have towards that shadow, towards that pain. Like when you shift how you relate to that thing, like everything changes. And then I started to feel this like really immense like relief, and like I was like crying, like feeling all this sadness just like pouring out of me with like feeling the pain of this thing, feeling having believed in its own ugliness and like that's all it is and it's so worthless and it shouldn't exist, and just feeling all the pain of that kind of like drain out of me. It was like very cathartic and beautiful and healing. And yeah, and that this happened because I like gave myself permission to slow down and pay attention to what this is and engage with it like in a loving way. Flora Shakespeare says, like all liminal lumps, they're mutable and mutant. Completely. Yeah. Funky love is the only cure. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So mutable. It was so mutable. And then, you know, it was so fascinating to see like this thing that just felt so like solid and fixed, like this this gray, big, opaque lump. I started to see, it showed me this other side of itself once it started to open up to me and I was opening up myself to it. And there were all these like different edges around it. Like it was like a crystal that had these different facets, and some sides were like translucent, this like transparent, clear. And yeah, it was like showing me that this thing is this multi-dimensional thing. It's not a solid fixed one thing. It's mutable, and it was showing me that it can change, it's transforming, and that it has, and it had its own revelation about itself, about its own ability to change. And like with the power of funky love, like it was also able to perceive itself and see other facets of itself because it was being seen, because there was presence there. And so, yeah, like showing me, it was showing me like it's all of these dualities of, there's like the rough parts of it that were kind of jabbing me in different parts of my psyche and body, and like smooth parts, and there's like the opaqueness of like I can't see through it, and there's other parts of it that are clear and transparent, like the dark and the light and like all of it. And in that it like showed me the beauty of duality and how it encompasses all of these parts and all of these multiple truths, that it makes up this, its beingness. Yeah. And so I had my partner I asked him to ask me questions about this, and throughout like this process of getting to know this lump that I woke up with, then he asked this lump if it would give him like a piece of it. And so in this like journey, there was a little piece of this that became like part of a necklace, and inside of that necklace was encoded with this, it was now this lump, it became a crystal, and in this crystal, the crystal's medicine was actually about seeing, the beauty in duality and recognizing all of our like multidimensionality, and like honoring all these different facets of ourself, and seeing the beauty of that. So this was a deeply transformational experience, like starting off from what I woke up with, the deep like heavy funk lump, to wow, this like very heart-opening experience of transforming the thing that felt so ugly and unwanted and shouldn't exist, to wow, like this has a powerful message about what true beauty is, and being able to see beyond what its initial form is, and that life is constantly mutating, mutable, and there's nothing that is just fixed. And with slowing down and giving presence to pain, it will unravel a deeper story and truths you weren't aware of before. So I see Flora Shakespeare says the biopsy of the lump was a crystal the whole time. So that's my catharsis journey this morning. So this is Catharsis Hotline. I always want to open up space for anyone who has, I don't know, do you have a lump that you need transmuting? You can invite yourself on here for witnessing, for presence, for support, navigating something that feels challenging for you. So, I'm here. You're so welcome. Thank you all for tuning in. So, okay, I guess, just kind of feeling like maybe no question. Okay, Ethel Ruman says, it hurts so much in the moment sometimes. For real. And this is when, in that moment of pain, I think something really helpful reframe is that this is an expansion moment. It's like you're giving birth, and the birth contractions of you like opening up to receive this pain is like, this is the pain of something that's supposed to be happening, as opposed to this is a pain that's just like senseless pain from a cruel world or life that's just wanting to punish me for something. So and in that, like, another thing that's helpful to think about is that like the bigger the pain, the bigger the illumination that's coming from it, like the bigger the opening Yeah. So the best thing you could do when you're feeling pain is to, a lot of pain, is to like validate yourself that this is a very hard moment, and doing whatever you need to do to give yourself that space and acknowledgement, and the, yeah, permission to just be in it, and that you're not just kind of like toiling in the dark by yourself in it, thinking that this pain is for nothing. No, it's here for a reason. Yeah, and if anything, it's like teaching you a new level of surrender in this birthing of yourself. So, thank you everyone for tuning in and sharing your energy with me and giving presence to whatever painful lump may be in your psyche, in your body, and just sending all your lumps so much love. Bye. Take care.